Showcasing local talent, professionals, and everyday people making Salt Lake City what it is today. It's time for another episode of the I Am Salt Lake podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 135 of the I Am Salt Lake podcast. My name is Chris Hollifield. I am your host. Welcome to the show. I want to give you guys a big warm welcome if this is your first time listening in, first time checking out the podcast. I cannot urge you enough to head on over to the website at iamsaltlake.com where you can check out the back catalog and download some of those previous episodes of conversations that I've had with people here in Salt Lake City. There's also links for iTunes, Stitcher Radio right there at I Am Salt Lake. That way you can subscribe, and that way you'll be notified when there's a brand new episode that usually posts every week on Mondays. Again, the website is iamsaltlake.com. I want to mention our sponsors for this episode, Peach Treats, right here from Salt Lake City. You could check out the Peach Treats Etsy site at peachtreats.etsy.com. Tiff makes some awesome custom ear art for men, for women, gauged ears, not gauged ears. Again, the website is peachtreats.etsy.com. And we're actually, Peach Treats is giving 20% off to all of the I Am Salt Lake podcast listeners. Just type in the coupon code I Am Salt Lake, that's I-A-M Salt Lake at checkout, and you'll get 20% off your entire order. Again, the website is peachtreats.etsy.com. You can check her out on Facebook. Just search for Peach Treats. Give her a follow. Tell her hello. And thank you so much, Peach Treats, for supporting this episode of the podcast, supporting the podcast in general. I also want to mention our sponsor, Urban Lounge. You can check out their website, theurbanloungeslc.com. Check out all the upcoming shows. A lot of really great free shows here in the near future that you're going to want to make sure to check out. You can follow them on Twitter and Facebook. Give them some love. And thank you so much, Urban Lounge, for supporting this podcast and for all that you do here in Salt Lake City. This episode, I sat down with the guys from New Truth. They were on the podcast back at about episode 51. I had the opportunity to sit down and do some catch up. We play some of their new music, and we just have a really great conversation in general. Really great guys, really great local hip hop. Check them out. I'm going to put all the links on the show notes, episode 135. Again, the website, iamsaltlake.com. And with that being said, let's jump into that conversation that I had with the guys from New Truth as they came over to my apartment here in downtown Salt Lake City. I listened to the first time that I had New Truth on the podcast. I just recently listened to that episode again just to kind of, freshen up, listen up, see what was up. I mean, that was a good time. I mean, this is I don't know what the exact number off the top of my head is going to be on this episode, but that was like episode 50 or 51 of the podcast. And now I'm like in the 130s. So we got a lot to catch up on. And then we got Joey. Yep. Introduce yourself, Joey. What do you do? What's your story?
So I'm a producer, engineer. I met up with these guys about a year ago. Was doing metal before I started doing hip hop. Started doing hip hop with these guys and loved it ever since, and been producing instrumentals, and then I'll be mixing the records too.
So metal from hip hop.
Yeah.
I mean, is metal your roots though? Is that kind of...
So I started playing guitar when I was 9, and I basically played classical until about the time that I was about 14 or 15. And then I got really into Rage Against the Machine. Tom Morello was my favorite guitar player growing up. And then I got into technical metal since it kind of fit more with my classical background. And then I played for a local band here called The Stranger Beside Me, and then left that band and then kind of did my own thing for a little while. And then started doing New Truth with these guys. So.
You played guitar with them?
Mm-hmm.
And how long did you play with them for?
I played with them for about 2 years. So technically, Stranger, and I won't go into detail because it's not too relevant, but they were another band before, and then the same band basically got a new singer, and then we just renamed the band and then rewrote the material kind of. But after that, I started doing New Truth. I played with them for about a total of 3 years, but I played for other bands too.
So how did you meet up with these guys then?
I actually went to school with Milo, and he coincidentally
like high school,
junior high and high school. And so it's kind of interesting that we actually hooked up after that, because we weren't close friends in high school because I didn't really have a ton of friends. I didn't really go to school very much.
Did you get good grades though?
No.
He's a genius. Though.
I went and I got my GED.
You know those type of people that like just don't go to school but they still get straight A's. I'm jealous of those type of people.
It's not that he wasn't.
They don't study, they don't read the books, but they still like.
Mine was more of like lack of participation, really. I wasn't ever a very good student because I wasn't ever really dedicated to doing that. But like I went and I later took my GED test and I ended up scoring within the top 1% of the entire nation in terms of the test. And so I've never had a problem with academics, like as a whole. I've had a problem with the system of academics, like participating in school and different things, standardized testing and just stupid things like that. So I always had, struggles in that standpoint, but music was always something that I always was really more interested in. I mean, even in high school, when I was playing guitar, I was just hiding basically in the music room. And I spent probably 2 years of just hiding every single period in high school in the back of the music room with my guitar. And it got so much to the point where teachers just stopped trying to fight it and they just let me play. Just leave it alone.
So are you actually like when New Truth plays, like do you do stuff with them when they play, or is it just Barehead that you're doing stuff with them?
So Barehead is really kind of like the overall brand. New Truth and Barehead are kind of the same thing when you look at it. Barehead is kind of like our flagship brand, and then you have New Truth, which is the actual artist group.
And I think we talked about that when you guys, Marcus and Milo, were on the podcast before. Briefly touched on Barehead.
Sure.
So is there other?
It was still a baby then.
It was like
it's just a baby. So it's
just an idea. Then
it's
more
evolved a little bit more now. So are you gonna are other groups going to be part of Barehead, or is it going to be just
someday?
Ideally, someday, yeah. We'd like to incorporate other people into it, and bring other artists into it.
Provide people a platform to like safely host their music and keep control of it.
Yeah,
but we want to do something ourselves first, get ourselves established, do something that shows other people why they should come play with us and come work with us.
Kind of use to push the brand and sort of reinforce it when we push it out to the point where once our careers are established, then we can bring other people onto it and try to help establish their career too. At this point, though, we haven't really found anybody that is really we want to collaborate with. I wouldn't necessarily say worthy, but I just don't know if other people necessarily have the same goals in mind. They don't necessarily want to be at the same point in their career. They may not be thinking about things in terms of career longevity and thinking about, what they're going to be doing 5 years from now with their career and different things like that. We haven't really found anybody that kind of shares those same ideals in general of, I want to do this forever and I want to put everything that I have into it.
And that's kind of the idea behind Barehead.
Exactly.
Is well, and, I know we talked about that before, kind of, that's what keeps you guys motivated with New Truth is, to make it your long-term income. You get out of your day-to-day day job bullshit. I mean, we were talking about this before we were recording, just kind of like how we get stuck in these jobs that we hate, and instead of doing something that we love. Since the last time that New Truth has been on, though, I mean, what's been going on with you guys? What musically? Man. I mean, you guys
busy.
I mean, you guys just recently the City Weekly Music Awards. You guys were like on the ballot, right?
Yeah, surprisingly,
I watched that video where you went around town. You wanted a recount.
Yeah, we never got that. We never got the recount. I'm still a little upset.
Waiting on calling on that. Get back at me, homie.
I'm a little skeptical. I heard a lot of rumors about how the votes were tallied. A lot of illegal activity going on, I hear. So that's why we wanted to recount, but we never actually apprehended one. So there's always next year. We were happy to be even thought about, mentioned. There was a lot of people that
were left off that
we feel like should have been on. So
well, there's a lot of. I mean, the hip hop scene, and I know we've talked about it, and I know I've talked about it with other. I'm not an expert on it. I've had a lot of, hip hop and rap people on the podcast just because, I mean, you guys have been supportive of the podcast. And I think it's because you guys see the light. You guys see how important it is to constantly be promoting yourself.
Definitely. And promoting others within the scene as well. That's not in the music, like you're not a musician. So to me, that's just as much of a reason.
It seems like everybody's pretty supportive of each other. Have you guys made a surface?
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say that. I mean,
A lot of
They're supporters
backstabbers, or
of
what?
themselves.
Utah has this problem with all their music scenes, really, and where they kind of become largely compartmentalized to the point where it's like you have, like for instance, I don't know how long have you lived in Utah? Have you lived in Utah your whole life? Or
More or less 20 years. Minus 5 of the years living out east.
did you ever go to like metal shows, for instance, and stuff like that? Like there was a band.
I've been to them. I've never really heavily.
Well, like they're for instance, and these guys are all my buddies too. So I mean, I'm not saying anything negatively about any of them. I'm just saying that this largely ends up happening due to the talent pool kind of being dry. And so what ends up happening is that groups kind of end up becoming compartmentalized, and then oftentimes you just have the same bands doing the same shows with the same bands. And so you had that problem even like when Clifton was like this pretty big
I
metal
remember
band.
Clifton.
Yeah, Clifton
Yeah,
came out, and then they had like I Am the Ocean. They had everybody. They had all the broship bands that were kind of a part of it, and even the broship itself, kind of became sort of like a compartmentalization of that. And it was partially due to the fact that the talent pool in general in the scene was lacking, and so I felt like artists kind of felt like they had to kind of collaborate together and sort of form a movement rather than so much of a group. You know what I mean?
I think it's exactly what happened in hip hop.
And that's exactly what happens in hip hop is that you have all these people that they're all supposed idealists and they're all supposed, they all have this great ambition and this idea of having this group and having this, big collaboration in Utah. But the problem is that the artists hate each other. Like everybody here hates each other.
You think that's true?
Yeah,
though?
I do. Absolutely. Like I think
most
that
part.
every single artist here, in Utah has kind of an overall general sort of attitude of, I gotta push other people down to get on top. Essentially, it's kind of like all these people in this crowd trying to shift to the front of the stage, and they're all pushing each other. And then you have this one dude that's kind of going through, just saying, I'm not going to push anybody else. I'm just going to kind of walk past everybody and ignore it. And those are the people that usually end up kind of leaving the scene rather than these people that are constantly fighting with each other over, kind of instead of sharing fans, it's my fans, not hip hop's fans. You know what I mean? And it's not about like, building up this the recognition. Scene. Yeah, it's about recognition. People want to be that one artist that says, I'm the only, rapper that ever made it out of Utah. I put all my effort into this and different things. And it's like, at the same time, everybody is just really pushing each other away rather than kind of collaborating with each other in a way that would make sense for the entire state as a whole. And so there's no real symbiotic relationship.
But don't you think people can benefit if they were to collaborate and join forces and promote each other? Because that's what I even try to do with my podcast is bring on other podcasts from Salt Lake. They might have a different style. They might have a different, perspective. And you can't look at similar things as competition. You have to look at it like
the big picture.
Yeah, you
have to see the big picture, which is that it's not about that one person who gets out. It's about building sustainability for the entire state for music.
So what can people do then? What do you think needs to happen?
A lot of different factors.
I think what people need to do is that they need to change their attitudes in terms of the way that they perceive other people's music. Is the biggest thing is that you have a lot of people who they'll look at other people's music and they'll say that they don't respect it or, it's not their style. And so they'll dismiss it. You mean here
locally?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And so, they'll kind of dismiss it because there's a lot of different styles in Utah. I mean, you have people that kind of have a lot of different influences. And so there's a lot of music in general in Utah too. That's part of the problem as well, is that it's oversaturated with the amount of artists. There's so many of them.
With no structure in place.
But they're all not, it's kind of like an army of people that are all disorganized and all kind of running around in different directions, as opposed to being kind of like unified to build up the entire state as a whole. So that when outside, because I mean, the biggest thing that Utah has, the biggest problem is that when you have outsiders looking into Utah, there's immediately kind of like an opinion that's being based before they even listen to the music.
What opinion do you think that is? What
good music doesn't come out of Utah.
It's more,
and it's kind of like a
whatever stigma
predisposition to thinking that since we're predominantly LDS state, that our music is going to be lacking in different things. And so Utah has had this problem where we'll have occasional artists, not in hip hop, but we'll have like the U's and like Neon Trees that come out and they kind of give this state a name, But then what ends up happening is that with hip hop, like I said, you have all these people that are just kind of fighting each other for that position, the same position that like the Used was in, where they came out and they were like, oh yeah, there's this great band from, from Utah. And, they basically put Utah on the map in terms of music. And we haven't really had that with hip hop yet, because I feel like.
I thought that was the Osmonds that put Utah on the map. You know what I mean?
I guess it depends on the demographic.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I guess with the, like the younger generation of kids or whatever. I mean, the Used was really big when I was growing up, and
they're still
proud. Everyone was
I
proud.
don't even know. I
They came out
mean,
of Utah.
a lot of those guys don't even live in Utah.
yeah, they don't live here anymore. Like Bert, I don't think lives here.
A lot of them
anymore,
never even
but-
claimed to be from Utah.
Yeah.
And that might
Yeah.
have been part of the problem too. Is they ripped from a different state.
But I mean, I guess my point is the problem is that with all of us not working together, with people looking from the outside in, it doesn't really look kind of the way that it should. Like, for instance, if we were to send our stuff to A&Rs right now and say, hey, we're this hip hop group from Salt Lake, there's already going to be this predisposition to thinking hip hop group from Salt Lake. What do you? What is this? As opposed to, like if we were from New York, that has a pretty, predominant hip hop scene, or if we were, from like LA or from another place, Atlanta, or some place that had like a huge hip hop scene, it's more competitive. But people are constantly getting better.
Do you think some of the blame could even go back to the venues?
Absolutely.
It's everybody.
It's everybody.
And the promoters.
promoters.
Absolutely,
especially.
yes. Promoters, especially. I mean, this mentality of like, give the show to whoever sells the most tickets,
Or put on your friends.
or put on your friends. I mean, there's a lot of that here in Utah. I'm not going to say anybody specifically, but there's a lot of that here in Utah, at least in my experience in the metal scene. I haven't experienced it too much in hip hop yet, because I haven't been a part of the scene long enough. But from what I've analyzed from the scene, and being involved in music in Utah since I was 15, 25 now, I can see the problems that it's having, and it's kind
very
of
clear too. Very
it's
clear.
pretty apparent that the biggest problem is that most artists just aren't collaborating with each other to the point of making good product. Really,
Yeah.
When you think about it, I don't know. A lot of it's perspective. Is you have people that, like, for instance, the overall expectations of projects has kind of diminished when you think about it, because you'll have people who will record something and they'll write a track, and then a week later they'll record it on their laptop, and then they'll put it online, and they'll just do it over and over again, over and over and over again.
I wonder why no
And they
one
don't
takes them serious.
understand that music is a kind of a lot like money, and they're really just creating inflation and devaluing their music by just flooding the market with it.
Yeah.
And so they don't understand that it's like, in a lot of sense, it's way better for you to sit back and say, you know what, I'm going to wait to release a record. I'm going to wait a year. I'm going to get really good first, so that when I release a record, I'm not just flooding the market to the point where, people can't find what they're really looking for. Like if somebody's looking for a particular artist, like, oh man, I feel like I'm going through this entire sea of shit. I'm going through all these artists. These guys are terrible. And then finally you find
get
that
sick
track,
of it.
as opposed to like, if it would be a lot better if people would just sit back and maybe say, you know what, maybe I'm not ready to, push my music to people. Cause I mean, it's one thing to post your music online and say, you know what, I got songs online, but it's another thing to post your music online and then try to shove it down people's throats, saying that I'm the dopest rapper in Utah. And, I'm the next person that's going to come out of Utah and everybody's going to know me, as opposed to sitting back and really kind of evaluating it and going, you know what, maybe I need some time to develop before I start trying to push my shit down people's throats. But it kind of doesn't happen that way, because people are naturally impatient. And
Well, that's
they
an
want to
element
release material.
that's lost in hip hop.
Yes,
What
compared to
do
in general.
you mean by that,
As-
Milo? What, like, as far as elaborate a little bit more? You say an element lost in hip hop, like
Yes, and not even just locally. I can only speak from a local perspective, but just from a musician's perspective of the effort that's had to go into writing a song with a group and rehearsing a song with a group and then performing that song on cue with the group. And just like that whole mentality of like the group effort and working together and dealing with egos and all of that, I feel like it's just not there in hip hop. Like the
you don't
the
think
dedication,
people work together well as a team?
I just don't think the time's been put in.
Yeah. But you
On-
guys,
on
I mean,
on all of the artists.
you and Marcus, I mean, you guys got a good chemistry going.
Because we do this every day.
Every day.
And just to give people a little bit of a catch up. I mean, you guys are related to a degree.
Yeah,
Right?
it's my brother-in-law.
Brother-in-law, so I mean that really helps out.
It helps a lot.
With,
We found them.
They brought me in. They brought me in off the street.
well, listen,
We need
let's,
some color in our music, brother.
Yeah.
We're not. It's not cracking with this cracker.
you guys got some tracks we're going to play here on the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. I mean, because the last time you guys had, what was the End of the World mixtape?
Yeah, that's the last time we were on.
That was before I even started doing that with these guys.
Yeah.
Wait,
That's before we even started doing it, really.
So was there anything?
We shouldn't even been on here.
You shouldn't even have been on it. Why is that? What?
It's kind of what Joe's talking about. Like, we were in that.
yeah, that's what I mean.
We
is
tried to
that-
put our shit out too soon.
You think?
Yeah.
But you got to get it out. I mean, I even look at some of the. I mean, I'm still learning with the podcast. I mean, every episode, it's like, you got to keep putting it out there.
Oh, sure,
If you just
yeah.
wait until you're good, then you're never going to do anything.
For sure.
Well,
for sure.
You can't
I
be
agree.
so critical of what you put out.
You have to be.
You
Like
think?
that's you absolutely as an artist you have to be, because the point is that it's like, as an artist, you ever heard that term, your own worst critic? That's absolutely true, and you should be. And you should be critical of your music, because I mean, that's your music. You're going to put your name on it. It's supposed to represent some part of you as a person, and it's supposed to, or some sort of emotion or idea in
Your
general.
artistry.
People judge you off of it.
People judge your life off of it. I mean, if you put out a bad record,
Or a
you
bad
have that
track.
stigma attached to you for a while. You're really only as good as your last record.
So then back to the End of the World mixtape. Do you think that put a negative stigma then?
I don't think we
Because you said you
known.
weren't ready.
I don't think we were known.
Yeah, I was
enough
gonna say, I don't
forward
think
to
it's
put
known
a
enough.
But then that's how you get known, though.
I would say it definitely put a bad taste in some people's mouths that might have a certain standard.
But
of how to-
why do you think that, though?
because
Why?
we didn't put the time into it. Like, we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know what we were doing in engineering. Like, I mixed it, but without really mixing it. It just wasn't.
So
it
you're
wasn't
pretty-
a complete
Right.
project. on
You're
a
pretty
professional
stoked on this new stuff, then.
Oh, this is like a whole other level.
Well, let's play a track. What track do you guys want to play first here?
First one we were gonna play is "Murder Scene."
Murder Scene.
Yes.
Anything you want to mention about this song, or
It's a live track. It's one we like to play live to kind of get ourselves into the mood. And
I like to work out to it.
you like to work out to it?
I
huh?
like to work out to it.
it's more
like
braggadocious.
on leg day.
Especially leg day.
It's more of
leg
a
day.
it's more of a braggadocious, and like it has kind of those, I hate to say the trap elements, but it's really like a live feel and just like really good energy and some shit talking, definitely.
It's just it's kind of a classic style hip hop track where it's
It's got the build up, the beat drops.
Yeah, Marcus is obviously talking about how hot he is and lyrical acrobat,
Hot baby.
I mean, because in hip hop you can I feel like artists kind of have their tracks that are meant to impress, and then they have their tracks that are meant to invoke thoughts and feelings on a certain level depending on the track. Because in some cases you might write a track, like even Rap God, for instance, like take Eminem's track Rap God. The track isn't necessarily supposed to be meant to have a bunch of substance. It's supposed to be it's just supposed to be technically lyrically acrobatic, and so it's kind of one of those tracks where it's just
Cool.
Not that we're comparing it to
Yeah,
rap.
not that we're comparing it to Rap God whatsoever, but Rap God's crazy.
It's a good track though. It's a good track.
All right, well, let's play Murder Scene, and we'll come back and chat with you guys some more.
Everybody clear the motherfucking murder scene. Everybody clear the motherfucking murder scene. Everybody clear the motherfucking murder scene. Yeah, cause we bout to murder everything. Well, it's a black Al Bundy, hands all in my undies. Black pants, black shoes, black mask in the army. Entourage with me like I'm Paul McCartney. We all been about $1, so homie, don't try to stop it. Breaking niggas off proper when we step in, it's official. Referee with a whistle, hurricane when we twist you. Aggressive, thoughts we never hold this shit together, but the fact is, we only getting better. Manipulate the climate, you niggas under the weather. Trying to get this cheddar and for it, we do just about whatever. About to take this shit to a whole nother level. Matter of fact, artisan, fire up the space shuttle. Strap up on your seatbelt, check for every detail. If you scared, go to church. 911, you need help. Everybody clear the murder scene. And know my style ain't free. You niggas gon' have to pay me. Windows down in my photo, turned on my high beams, puffing on that light green. Fucked up. Man, nigga gon' try me. Pistol right beside me. License to carry, so I ain't worried about police. So welcome to the motherfucking danger zone. I see you recognize the truth, I knew it won't be long. Barehead fucking with it.
The new album, then, when's that? I mean, how many tracks are going to be on this CD, or do you have are you still working on it, or what's?
It's done.
It's done.
It's done.
How many tracks?
20 tracks total, 19 songs, one interlude.
Wow, so it's
called Table Scraps for a reason. It's everything. It's everything that pretty much between. So we put out the End of the World mixtape, end of 2012. Then we came on the podcast, and then a few months after that, we put out our first EP, and that was something that we were proud of. We put a lot of effort into that.
Yeah.
We put a lot of money into that to get it tracked right, or at least to the best that we could at that time. And, you know, it was something we were really proud of to look back on, and we still are. But it was just a small little project, and that was kind of like where we really started to catch on to things. And then a few months, or like a month or two after we dropped that EP, we met up with Joe and started hashing out new material and just kind of figuring out where we really want to take this project. And that's kind of what Table Scraps has culminated into, is everything that we're really proud of that we've put together, but it just doesn't have a place on the next level project that we also have in the works.
So the new, say the name of the new album again is going to be
Table Scraps.
Table Scraps. Is that going to CD format, available at shows? You're
Yes.
going to have it online,
Yes,
probably
both.
as well, like Bandcamp. Is that what
Bandcamp, and as well as our website,
Yeah, we're
Bearhead
getting
Music.
the website, bearheadmusic.com.
Probably.
Started up.
When's that going to be up online?
It's technically up, but it's going to be fully functioning and running by March 14th.
And is any of the music going to be on iTunes or no?
Yeah, we'll use TuneCore probably to get it distributed.
Get everything.
iTunes,
Yeah, everything will be very available.
Yeah, it'll be around. It'll be easy.
We're going to be out pushing them to random people on the streets,
Yeah,
finding
you see me in
12,
the street.
13-year-olds to sling them to, like people that actually listen to new music.
If you see this intimidating black man with glasses on out there downtown
Buy my CD.
with a stack of CDs in his hand, don't be scared. You know, I'm giving
Just
them
take
out
one.
for free.
Just take
You know,
one graciously.
one.
Wait, the new
Take
album.
one, listen to it.
The
If you
new
don't like it,
album.
throw
You're
it
just gonna
away.
give it out for
We're
free.
just gonna give it away for free.
Give it out. This is Table Scraps, man.
Now don't be mistaken that it's worthless.
No,
Yeah, I mean-
it's not worthless. I'm very proud of it. I'm very
We're so eager to get people to hear it that
Yeah.
that's the best way
but
for us to get it out.
It's just not making the big event this year.
We have
But
another
it
project
can't.
in the works.
It's still
as well.
good enough that people need to hear it. You know.
Absolutely. What's this other project, Milo?
Well, we can kind of tie it in with Table Scraps. It's called Elemental, and that's going to be what we're most proud of at this time. That's our flagship album, I feel like, or our project. And so Table Scraps is kind of leading up to Elemental, and we've tied in those ideas together. Table Scraps is also kind of like the table of elements with our imagery. We worked in the table of elements, so it's like the building blocks of our project, and then really it's all going to build up into Elemental, which will come out sometime later this year.
And another full length album, then, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, I guess you could call it a full length.
I mean, we don't really look at it in terms of like an album. I don't think that it's in the best interest of like independent artists to necessarily call them albums. Like I feel like albums, in my opinion,
Michael Jackson Thriller was an album.
like an album. Like if you or
Okay,
like
well, yeah.
No, I know what you mean. I'm
yeah.
just saying just for the sake of like kind of how we perceive it. Like we kind of treat every project that we do like it's an album, and like it's supposed to be a full length record.
it's not a mixtape,
but like it's you know kind
but
of
it's a mixtape.
yeah, it's albums in my opinion are more for signed artists that do like, and an album in my opinion is usually around a concept. Like a mixtape is usually not really conceptualized. It's usually just kind of a bunch of tracks thrown together. It's not necessarily built around like a concept, like say Marcus's life or something like that. Like,
And then the term mixtape, though, that's used more in the hip hop community.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we also refrain from that as well because these beats aren't downloaded. These aren't other people's beats. All the music's 100% original,
yeah.
sample free.
sure,
So it's a collection. It's a tape. It's a
Table
compilation,
Scraps, man.
compilation. It's
Table
sales
scraps.
rap.
You know, you guys have, I mean, honestly, like I go back, you know, I mentioned at the beginning, I'm not really, you know, an expert when it comes to, you know, the hip hop music. I mean, I grew up listening to a lot of hip hop and rap. I mean, it was rap back then, you know, Digital Underground and NWA, you know, that's my roots, you know, but obviously I strayed away from it as I
had
got
albums.
older, you know, the albums, you know what I mean?
De La Soul, Prince Paul, real albums.
Oh, those are
Yeah.
those
like
are
when
the-
people were having fun with it and like putting their soul into it and not just for recognition or for someone to say, "Oh, he's a good rapper."
Well, what do you think of mainstream rap today? Mainstream hip hop compared
Depends
to
on the artists. There's
Yeah.
good and bad.
I mean, mainstream rap as a whole, I mean, it's become largely commercialized, which is kind of expected.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can't really blame them for it. I mean, if you're really making music and, you know, you're trying to make a product that's going to sell well, you know, why wouldn't you obviously make a product that's going to sell well if that's your intention?
Definitely.
And so, I mean, it's become largely commercialized. A lot of the themes are kind of the same.
That doesn't mean there's not talented.
But no,
folk.
I mean, as far as like mainstream artists, I mean, they're mainstream artists for a reason, because they're talented and because people like them. You know,
I
even
hope to be mainstream
artists
someday.
that, you know, people always bag on, like Drake, for instance. I mean, it's funny because he ended up having the most searches on Google this year, and everybody's always talking about Drake and talking about how soft he is and how lame he is. And but I mean, that's just another example of, you know, why are people buying his records if they don't really like him?
Yep.
And so, but in my opinion, mainstream music in general has just kind of just become more commercialized, and the themes are kind of all intertangled, you know, and they try to make it as relatable as possible, which
Universally relatable.
yeah. And so, I mean, that's kind of how I perceive it.
Now, you know, Milo mentioned, you know, hey, he wouldn't mind going mainstream, you know. Would you, like, I know you guys get a little political. I mean, in some of your stuff, would that be safe to say or no?
We're very honest.
Very, you know,
we don't
you like to spread the
sugarcoat.
truth, you know what I mean? Would you,
Without getting killed,
would you if somebody was to offer you a large sum of money, would you sit and said, well, you can't talk about this, this, and this? Would you do it? I mean,
Yes.
you know, I mean, well, yeah. I mean, I
So
guess
I could turn around and
use that money for maybe other side
in the future,
projects.
yeah, in the future.
And I think that's a fair thing to say, you know, because I would say the same thing even about this show, where it's like, you know, I always mention to people, I say, hey, you know what, language isn't an issue.
Sure.
But at the same time, if somebody was to offer me a large sum of money and said, okay, we want you to do a show minus, you know, swear words or something like that, you know, I'd probably do it.
Oh yeah.
You
I
know,
think, yeah, and I think that's
There's nothing wrong with
that's
that.
a good compromise in
morally.
my opinion, because I think a lot of times artists get into this perspective where they're just like, you know, fuck you, I'm not compromising anything. You
Yeah.
know? And it's kind of a stupid mindset, because how are you really going to grow as an artist if you never ever learn how to compromise anything in your music? Because I mean, one of the things that you have to accept is that, you know, there are going to be people who don't like your music, no matter who you are. I mean, they're
It's all opinion
Eminem,
based.
you know, highest selling artist of the decade, and there are still people out there who don't like him. And so, I mean, it kind of just ends up being that way. But
I'm pretty good at manipulating words too. You know, I can twist them and make them mean the same.
Still
thing.
say what he needs to say.
Still saying what I mean without
and that takes a talent.
actually saying what
Definitely.
I mean.
So
Yeah.
Now, Marcus, you do most of the lyric writing then, or is it kind of a
all
Everybody,
all-
everybody.
all
I
of
do.
it.
I
smart.
do the lyrics.
It's HQ, baby.
yeah?
all of it.
We have a pretty solid system in place. I feel like we all know our responsibilities of like what we want to bring to the table, and we all know what to expect from each other. And
And you guys respect each other too.
Yes,
you know,
no.
that's
True.
no.
Except for
I
the
don't respect these guys. Nah, I don't respect them.
Well, let's play another track, and then you know we got another one we'll end the show out with. But I want to get another track up on
Okay.
what track you guys want to do?
It's called Do Not.
Do
Do
Not.
not try to bite my
Basically,
style and
yeah.
do not try to mimic.
Just basically, this is our style. This is what we're doing. I know everyone's gonna appreciate it, whether they want to publicly state it or not. But just let us keep our style. You keep your style. That's kind of what this track's about. Another braggadocious talking shit. That classic hip hop. It's catchy.
Yeah. Now these were recorded. I mean, you guys just record them in your basement, right? Or did you guys go to a studio for all this, or no?
We have
You have your own
built-
studio.
we have a setup.
built one.
Yeah, you have
we have a
your own
setup.
setup and all that. You know, DIY.
Everything's in house. Joey's mixing is in house. We try and keep as much of under our control as possible without compromising the quality of the product.
Well, cool. I'm excited to check it out. We'll play it now.
Yeah. HQ New Truth, you already know, nigga. We going in, yo. You know what time it idiots. But just in case you didn't, I'm getting to the money like a crooked politician. Republican or Democrat, I don't see the difference. I tell you what you wanna hear and then it's back to business. See, I'm the illest. Michael Kidd Gilchrist. #1 prospect, just shake my statistics. Look how many points I get. Look how many assists, double every game. #1 in the district.
Do not try to bite my style and do not try to mimic.
Just give me a minute. Bet we push the limits. The crime has been committed. Trying to silence every critic. And this shit is not a gimmick. We just write for the picking. You niggas spoil rotten. Nah, we ain't stopping. I run it myself like a quarterback option. Cause I ain't never pitching. Spitting these lyrics like a lyricist. Leave you itching like I'm pitching these pitches, man. I'm the illest. Michael Kidd Gilchrist. #1 prospect. Just check my statistics. Look how many points I get. Look how many assists. Double every game. #1 in the district.
Do not try to bite my style and do not try to mimic. Do not try to bite my style and do not try to mimic. Do not try to bite my style and do not try to mimic. It is not a gimmick, we just write for the picking. Do not try to bite my style and do not try to mimic. Do not try to bite my style and do not try to mimic. Do not try to bite my style and do not try to mimic. It is not a gimmick, we just write for the picking.
Business as usual. It's just my daily routine. Giving you visuals. With the music, I'm killing them, swimming, drilling them, looking for mineral residuals. Is my religion critical? Best decision, best you listen, cause I'm on a mission to dropping knowledge, beating niggas with a spoon, holding out to make an album, best expecting it soon. But you Philistines ain't feeling me, think that y'all hurting my feelings. Y'all swallow them all in one sentence.
Do not try to bite my style and do not try to mimic.
Until I'm finished, like Da Vinci with the Mona Lisa. We had a vision, I was reaching into darkness, regardless of the consequence. This is not a new idea, it's fucking common sense. They say I'm cocky, I'm just confident. A little full of myself, overly optimistic. Bound by the laws of gravity, but we defy the physics. See, I'm the illest. Michael Kidd Gilchrist. #1 prospect, just shake my statistics. Look how many points I get. Look how many assists, double every game. #1 in the district.
Do not try to bite my style and do not try to mimic. Do not try to bite my style and do not try to mimic.
Tell them again.
Do not try to bite my style and do not try to mimic. It is not a gimmick, we just write for the picking. Do not try to bite my style and do not try to mimic.
Tell them again.
Do not try to bite my style and do not try to mimic.
Tell them again, nigga.
Bite my style and do not try to mimic.
Why?
It is not a gimmick, we just write for the
Well,
picking.
yeah, I might if you throw my name in a song or something, man.
Hey, man.
You don't throw my name in the song, man.
He don't even know about ambition. See, we got your name already in the song. You just ain't heard it yet.
Well, look, I'll let you get back to it, man.
You're pretty. I mean, you read a lot, don't you, Milo? You're a pretty big book reader, or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, is that kind of how you keep in the loop?
Comic
of
books.
Comic books.
nudie mags, read the articles. No, I try and stay.
He looks at
try
the
and stay up.
pictures.
You know, I mean, we've had conversations, you know, messages back and forth about some different stuff. You know what I mean? It seems like you stay up on different events and different things. You know,
Just try not to get left behind, man.
what's the biggest frustrating thing right now, in your opinion, about living in Utah in general, even outside the music scene? What's the biggest thing that's frustrating you right now, and politically or non-politically, or would you rather not go there? I don't know.
there.
No, I'm just curious, you know, because there's so much going on. I mean, even I mean, you got Colorado with legalization of pot, you know,
That's
and
definitely
then you got you know, Utah with same-sex marriage. I mean, it's like
Russia going to war with Ukraine.
yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that's not really you. But do you think Utah is going to eventually just? I mean, it's like there's so many people fighting against all these other things. Do you think that Utah is going to be a normal state eventually? I mean,
that's a big question.
That's a big question. I'm just curious.
No,
I'm curious, you know, because
I really think so. I really think everyone will see through the bullshit at some point. I think it's just been a slow process while the new cultures kind of settle in, and the people from California that keep moving in, and just as the state floods with new faces and new cultures, I feel like it will become a quotation
more
normal place.
And I say that loosely. I'm not even talking bad about it, but I definitely think that there's this uprising here. You know what I mean? I think
it's
there's
coming
this
from the outside, I feel
crazy counterculture
Yes.
of people that are sick of the old ways here.
Well,
They're sick of the
you see
passiveness. They're sick of the.
You
see
never
that.
gotta get rid of that old way, though.
You don't think so in Utah though?
Well, I don't know. See, the problem with Utah is Utah is one of the few states that it's one of 2 states that's still a caucus state, and a lot of people don't know what that means. But that means that we don't have primaries here.
So people are going behind closed doors, making our decisions.
And that's one of the things that's interesting about when Marcus was going out, getting votes in that video that was posted online. That those 2 guys that he was talking to, that's actually what they were trying to do, was trying to get signatures to bring up a vote in the House to get Utah to make Utah a primary state and not a caucus state.
Which would be a very big change for us.
Utah has its fair share of legislation problems, but I mean, you also have politicians here that are very, informed and well of what's going on. I mean, you have like Mark Roberts, for instance. He's a House representative here, and he's got a bill currently going through the House to try to shut off the water in Bluffdale to the NSA data center. Mm-hmm. They use 1.7 million gallons of water a day, and they ended up getting a deal on the water from the mayor. It's just totally stupid, ridiculous deal. And Mark Roberts, I mean, he's got a bill going through right now to try to shut the water off because states are not obligated by the federal government to provide resources to the federal government. And so,
I didn't even know all that, man.
Yeah, so I mean, the state is
keep
very.
them around.
The state, it's not necessarily got this mindset that's totally dominated by the church, but I mean, the church has always been very kind of anti-federal government, and so Utah, naturally, a lot of people don't realize this. Utah, in its own way, is a rebel state already by itself politically. I mean, Utah has always been a red state. We haven't voted Democrat ever. We've never voted Democrat in Utah.
Except the mayor. I heard the mayor.
We've never no national elections.
Yeah,
so
national
never
as far as
voted
presidential.
Exactly.
Presidential,
so I mean, Utah,
but Salt Lake City itself is actually very Democrat.
Well,
or at least more liberal. Anyway.
Liberal.
They're getting that way, but I mean, Utah is still very socially conservative. I mean, that's why gay people can't kiss downtown at the Temple Square and they can get arrested for it. It's because it's still private property owned by the church, and the state doesn't do anything to stop that. I mean, even though it's kind of a blatant,
But don't you
violation
think?
of the First Amendment.
But even back to that incident, I mean, that was quite a few years ago. Don't you think, though, that whether you agree or disagree with it, it was private property?
Absolutely, and that's their right. I mean, it's their property. But I mean, at the same time, it's kind of a part of our culture because, like, if you think about it, Temple Square is pretty much like the tourist attraction in Utah. Anybody that comes to Utah to go sightseeing, they're going to go see the temple, and they're going to go down to Temple Square, and they're going to go to City Creek, which City Creek is owned by the church, by the way. So if you go to City Creek, and so like at the same time,
you can get a sweet Rolex there, like the Rolex shop.
Absolutely. I mean, at the same time, it's like you get into this situation, like even for instance, you remember that whole Duck Dynasty fiasco where the Duck Dynasty guy was talking about his views on gay people and how everybody was like, well, it's a violation of his First Amendment rights. Well, it's not a violation of his First Amendment rights. His company can fire him if they feel like it. They can't imprison him for it. So they obviously can't imprison people for kissing at Temple Square, but they can certainly kick them off the property, which is their right. But that's kind of another one of those things where it's like our culture hasn't really changed as much as people think it has.
You got the NFL trying to ban the N-word.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
trying to ban the word nigga, so
I think it's just mainly because the youth
their
is
right to do that. That's their company.
The youth in the United States in general is just starting to become a lot more disenfranchised. They're starting to realize that this older generation was convinced that you go to school, you get a degree, you get a job, and you keep this cycle going. And the younger generation is starting to realize that it's bullshit.
It's not the way.
And that it doesn't work, and that the American dream, in a lot of sense, isn't necessarily accessible to the youth, especially.
And don't you think a lot of that's going to change once we start, our generation becomes more and more in charge of things?
You'd think that, but the problem is that as much as the youth is disenfranchised, it's largely misdirected. which is a lot of the problem is that people are angry, but they're not even sure why they're angry
Or what to do to make it better.
Like, for instance, they realize that life is hard and it's become harder and that it becomes harder and harder every day. But I don't think people can really put their finger on why that's happening. And you can say, well, it's because we're having cultural issues, or you can say, well, it's because of the economy, it's because of this.
You can't really put your finger on it.
It's really a mixture of a lot of different things. It's a lot of things, and it's mostly perspective. You have a lot of young kids who claim to be informed, but they're really not informed. And then you have all these people that, believe in government conspiracy, but they're not sure why they believe in government conspiracy, or they have a certain political affiliation. Like me, for instance, and a lot of people will think that's crazy. But I mean, I'm a libertarian, but mostly on the Republican side. And a lot of people, they view Republicans as these evil people. And the biggest problem with the Republican Party is that the Republican Party has an issue with their social politics, which is why people hate Republicans, because, and that's why Utah, like you were saying earlier, is becoming more democratic. Utah is becoming more liberal, which doesn't necessarily mean it's becoming more democratic. But the reason why people, especially the youth, tend to lean more towards Democrats is because Democrats have sounder social policies, and they don't alienate every single voting demographic like Republicans do. Because, Republicans will come out and they say, oh, we hate gay people. We think that it's ridiculous that we pass legislation that allows gay people to get married. Or, why do we have all these, government assistance programs, these entitlement programs? I mean, that's a huge thing that people talk about, and just different things. It's not necessarily one or the other. It's kind of a mixture of everything. Yeah. And so in general, I think the youth is starting to become more aware of what's going on, but they don't know where to direct it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like an instant, like, for instance, I just read something the other day. Most people in this country don't understand how laws get passed. And that's really amazing when you think about it, because everybody in the United States has to abide by the law, right? Well, it's kind of bizarre when you think about it that you have all these people that have to abide by laws that they're not even sure how they get passed. And like, a lot of people don't realize how many laws get passed every year. Like, for instance, Congress last year, they passed 20,000 new laws. And people aren't aware of it because they don't pay attention. They're not a part of the system. They're not looking at legislature. They're not looking at what's going on in the news. Like Ukraine, even, for instance, a lot of people don't realize that Russia is actually invading Ukraine right now. And that they're probably going to end up annexing, and you can mark my words, it's kind of like a Super Bowl bet. I got to get this on record so that people know I'm not crazy. But you watch, within the next 4 weeks, you're going to see Russia annex Crimea. And a lot of people aren't aware of it. And they're not even aware of the fact that, like, the State Department, they funded the protests and they admitted to it on live television. Yeah. And it's just one of those things where it's just people aren't paying attention. They rely too much on social media to inform them about the news. And that's really the biggest thing with the youth, is that nobody's really actually going out and they're looking for the news. They're waiting for it to show up in their news feed, and you say, oh yeah, did you guys hear that, Marcus just said that Ukraine is getting invaded by Russia? And that's how they get their news, as opposed to really keeping themselves informed and up to date on things that are going on in the world that might actually, have an impact on them. Because, you can say, oh, well, I don't have anything to do with Ukraine. Well, you do, because you pay taxes. So that means that you, in one way or another, are supporting it. And so, I mean, if you don't inform yourself, somebody else will do it for you.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing that people don't understand, is that if you don't fill your brain with information, somebody else will do it for you. And that's what you'll think for the rest of your life. Basically, something else that somebody told you to.
So to answer your question, yes, I think it will change. Whether it's for the better or not, we'll see. That's all in perspective. But I feel like the tide is changing in Utah. I feel like people are getting fed up with how it's been, whether that's the church or whether that's how people act, treat each other. Like I said, it's a very passive-aggressive state. I think a lot of people are getting tired of that. But it also comes down to everybody as an individual kind of stepping outside their comfort zone to change that. Like I have had to do myself, being from Utah. I'm a very passive-aggressive person.
Because you grew up here in Utah as well, right,
yeah.
Milo? Yeah. Now, Marcus, you're from Mississippi originally.
I'm very aggressive.
Yeah.
Tell it like it is. I don't
confrontationally
shit.
aggressive.
Very confrontational. Let's get it on the table, baby.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I ain't got time to beat around
it's a good
the bush.
balance,
New Truth. Well, I mean, what's ahead? You guys got some shows coming up. Let's talk about. I mean, you guys got some shows.
We have a very, very exciting show on Pi Day, March 14th.
March 14th. So yeah, this will be up before March 14th. So if you're listening, where's the show going to be at?
The Music Garage. It's right off 13th South and about 200 West or so. It's a really new venue.
Yeah, great sound.
Trying to think where that is.
It's like right by the Walmart on 13th South.
Walmart Lowe's.
Kitty corner.
Right there where that Lowe's is.
Brand new venue.
Pretty new, as far as I know. As far as like playing shows and stuff, they haven't been putting shows out until
Who's gonna be playing Pie Day? Is there gonna be free pie?
Free pizza pie.
Free pizza pie.
It's a free show as well. Free entry, free pie. It's being put on by Justified Inc. He's a local designer and apparel distributor.
I'm not familiar. I'll have to get him on the podcast.
Definitely.
Oh, definitely.
He's the next up and comer as far as clothing in Salt Lake goes.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe.
should we tell him about that whole thing with Justin? I mean, with Justified.
No.
Do you want to talk about that?
No.
No, all right.
No, I mean, he does all of our artwork for
He's our exclusive art designer.
for
you
our
could
music.
say.
He does our artwork for. He does T-shirts for us. We get
Some
most
video
of our
design stuff.
like.
So he does it for you guys. I mean, he'll do it for anybody though too. I mean, that's his,
For a price.
for a price.
But we've developed a relationship with him, so he's kind
Yeah.
of part of the team. And in some ways, we work a lot together.
Who else is going to be on that? Did I see Dusk Raps is going to be there too?
Yeah. Dusk Raps, New Truth, and Heathcliff. Just 3 artists. It's not really a rap show. It's not a concert. It's for
What day of the week is that? Like a
Justified
Friday?
Inc. is coming out with
Friday. Yes, I believe
his big deal, his big clothing line.
his full catalog, like
His
all
catalog,
of his designs,
everything,
all of his shirts.
Designs. He's making it accessible to everybody, and so
He got with Snub. I don't know if you're familiar with Snub Clothing.
I'm not. No.
Another big local company doing clothing and beanies and things like that. They kind of got together and designed a couple items, and they're kind of helping him put on the show on the art side of things, and that's what it's all focused on. It's just a free show to get people there to come check out the amazing artists that are in Salt Lake City.
So it's going to be like an art show too.
Yes, it is an art show, and it
is.
just happens to have live performance.
So art's going to probably be for sale.
oh yeah,
Yes.
oh, yeah.
I got to get some
For free too.
There'll be free art. Yes, there'll be
Free art.
There's going to be
There's
some.
going to be raffles,
Okay.
giveaways, all kind of.
I know Snub's giving away a lot of beanies and stuff. Just to come up to their table and grab one, like trying to really bring the community together and not make it about what can we do to push ourselves to the next level. Let's just get our friends together. It's for Pie Day. It's for a cause.
I'll bring porn.
He's bringing the porn.
Well, there. So
all the money is being is going to be donated too. So it's not going to be any porn.
What are you talking about? That's where the revenue's at.
So all the money's going to be donated to what now, Mark? Is what?
Some of it goes to the Music Garage.
Music around. Some of it goes to a benefit of Justin's choice. He let me know, but I cannot remember off the top of my head to save my life right now.
Sure either.
So, but yes, I think it's to children in the community of the appreciation of arts and stuff like that. So,
And I'm sure people can find out more about the event following New Truth and Bearhead on Facebook.
And you can follow Justified Inc. He's always promoting about it. We promote about it.
That's our next big show.
A lot of new songs.
Yeah.
A lot of new songs.
And then anything after that date you guys got going on playing or what?
Nothing really like too locked down, that's to talk about.
Again, follow you on Facebook and all that to stay up to date on shows.
Yeah, that's the best way. I mean, we're trying to kind of not pull back, but be more selective with our shows. We have a new stage setup. We have a new show. We have props. We have new rehearsal, new songs, new stage presence. So
costume lineups and
basically, yeah. I mean, we have plans to really take our shows to the next level. We've always put on like high energy shows, and we have fun with our music. That's where it all comes from, is the fun and the passion that we have for it. So now that we're actually going to take our show to a theatrical level, a new theatrical level, like we're trying to find the right venues, trying to find the right artists to work with, and just so we can properly showcase our music so it's not lost in translation.
Anything else you want to mention, or talk about? We're going to play another track.
314 Table Scraps.
Yeah, I mean,
be on
that's...
the lookout.
Yeah, be now, will your new album, or not album, will your new CD, be available there or no?
Where?
On Pi Day.
We're hoping.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Keep fingers
I'm about
crossed.
95% sure.
All right,
I mean,
well, we won't hold you to
Worst
We better.
case, worst case, it'll still be online for people to get access to. So
Just physical copies.
yeah, the
So
physical copies
We're not sure.
be available on. The
We're shooting for to have it out by the
Or in track.
14th.
Yeah.
No release date really though. Just trying to get it out.
And sometimes release dates can just stress you out, you know.
Oh yeah.
They do.
Yeah, and we
They
don't
really
have
do.
we don't have a buzz to even put to get use out of a release date. So we just want to drop this project and show people what we've been working on, and we are anticipating that it's going to build the hype for the next project, Elemental, which is it's going to be on the next level for sure. Not even just in a Utah sense, but just in a hip hop music regional of this whole region. It's going to be on a different level of how we're approaching it visually
gonna
and
be dope.
everything. We have a lot of videos coming out.
Parts on the track.
Yeah, because you guys got a YouTube channel, and again, I'll put all those links on the on iamsaltlake.com, the show notes for this episode. So,
And it's all
people
they're all
can-
pretty easy to find. And it's all labeled under the same Barehead Music.
Barehead Music.
Barehead Music.
So we have a few videos right now that are just waiting to come out, and we have a few in the works. And then we have, like I said, with Elemental, there's going to be a big theatrical video project that we're hoping to enter into some film festivals later this year. So that's kind of the direction we're going. It's just bigger, not just music, but we want to take that with us and go on to bigger things and find a larger audience for what we're trying to do, a larger audience to take in these grand personalities that we've presented before you,
Well, the last track we're going to play here is Headstrong, right? Is that we didn't play that one yet, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Headstrong. Anything you want to make mention before about this song, or we'll close the episode out playing this song? And
We wrote this song pretty much right after our last EP came out, so it's been ready to come out, and it's not much to say about it other than it's a great full track. It's structured. It's got a full structure. It's got some HQ singing a little bit in the background. It's got some soul.
I call it whining. Not necessarily singing.
It's just a nice, full, complete track, and it's a little more outside of the hip hop element. It's not so much about beats and rap as about just his flow and just the structure and the chorus and the hook and the whole thing as a piece.
well, cool.
So we try to bring a wide variety of music to kind of show what's on the mixtape, because it's definitely a lot of different styles.
Well, I was excited to have you guys back on the podcast.
Excited
back on
to
the
be here,
show
man.
and-
Thank you,
and
thank you.
help
You're one of the
get-
few that shows us love, and we want to do whatever we can to show it back.
And you guys do. You guys have been supportive with what I got going on. I mean, it seems like since day one. I don't know. Gosh, it's been a long time. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you, sir.
Scratching each other's backs, so to say. Anyways,
It's cool to see everything grow and to see everyone grow together. And
yeah.
look forward to coming back on for Elemental to talk about that next project this summer.
Absolutely. All right, Headstrong, New Truth, Barehead. We'll have all the links on the show notes. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Chris.
Keep it real.
Always. My
Truth be
pleasure.
told,
Definitely.
My pleasure.
Young, wildin' and thuggin', niggas can't tell us nothing. I've been cocky and confident since the day I started this shit. I'm sincere about this here. We do this all year. Got no fear, so why you getting cold chill? With my skills, there's nothing to be scared about. I'm from the south, but the whole Salt Lake gon' hear me out. I say it proud, shout New Truth from the mountaintops down to every valley, every nook and cranny. Junkies off in every alley, know we spreading like algae, but I'm a vigilante. Vagina, money, success, only things that attract me. No distractions, do whatever I gotta do to make it happen. I get a whole thing, break it down to fractions. Get your mind out the gutter, ain't talking about trapping. The fact is, I'm way above the surface, couldn't scratch this. I be speaking the truth, not just rapping.
I've been drinking and drugging, popping, perking and puffing. Out of control, you know it, but they can't tell us nothing. No, they can't tell us nothing. No, they can't tell us nothing. No, they can't tell us nothing. These niggas can't tell us nothing. I've been us nothing. No, they can't tell us nothing. No, they can't tell us nothing. No, 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 no. Wait, wait, no.
No substitution, I'm the solution to the problem in the game. There will be no resolution, cause it's proven in my music and lyrics to speak to the spirit chain. These niggas can't feel it, I don't wanna listen. There is no competition, the only opposition is me. So I just look in the mirror and go against it. And when I'm finished, bet that you say that nigga killed it. As I exit the building with your princess getting sexual healing, drilling them out like a dentist. Don't worry, you can have your bitch back right after I'm finished. Give her the death stroke, hard, hit it from the side. Tie her hands behind her back when she start to ride. Man, I got your girl wetter than a slip and slide. She hear the sound it make when that dick and pussy collide. Know she a freaker, she ain't wanna turn off the lights. And this new truth on me, cause I ain't never told a lie.
I've been drinking and drugging, popping, perking and puffing. High in control, you know it, but they can't tell us nothing. No, they can't tell us nothing. No, they can't tell us nothing. No, they can't tell us nothing. These niggas can't tell us nothing. I've been drinking and drugging, popping, perking and puffing. High in control, you know it, but they can't tell us nothing. No, 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 no.
No, they can't tell. No, they cannot. They cannot. No, they can't tell. No, they cannot tell us nothing. No, they cannot tell. No, they cannot. They cannot. No, they can't tell. No, they cannot tell us nothing. Can't tell me nothing. End of discussion. Proceed with caution or deal with repercussions. Niggas think that I'm bluffing, play the joker, but no joking. Laugh now, cry later. Looked up, my hater erupt like volcanoes. And struck like tornadoes. Niggas built like Skittles. I can taste the rainbow. Niggas softer than Play-Doh, but I don't really play though. I'm serious like T.I. first album. Ask my Uncle Malcolm. Used to call me Backham when I was back in high school. But it's cool, got control over my handles. This is the anthem, so get your damn hands up. Even though a lot of you can't even stand us. I see them smile in my face, shaking my hand, bruh. Soon as you turn around, they quick to backstab ya. Cause in this game, ain't no love for the next nigga. Pissing contest, nigga. Let's see who dick's bigger. Drinking and drugging, popping, burping and puffing. Out of control, you know it, but they can't tell us nothing. No, 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 they cannot tell. No, they cannot. They cannot. No, they can't tell. No, they cannot tell us nothing. I've been drinking and drugging, popping, perking and puffing. Out of control, you know it, but they can't tell us nothing. No, they can't tell us nothing. No, they can't tell us nothing. No, they can't tell us nothing. These niggas can't tell us nothing. I've been drinking and drugging, popping, perking and puffing. Out of control, you know it, but they can't tell us nothing. No, 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 they can't tell us nothing. I've been drinking and drugging, popping, perking and puffing. Out of control, you know it, but they can't tell us nothing. No, 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 they can't tell us nothing.